we are back with another replay coaching. Again, we're doing Fearless Oreos on the Sylas mid lane. He has graciously given us so much free content here with his Sylas gameplay, and we're just gonna see what happens this game. Again, I haven't watched this before, so I have no idea what happens, but I do know that they do win this game, so exciting. I don't think he plays this quite as well, judging by his end score, as some of his other games. So, maybe there'll be more to talk about regarding that. Just looking at the enemy team comp real quick. He is playing against Swain mid, which is quite interesting. This should also be a pretty nice matchup because his ult's really good. It did just get reworked. This is 12.8, so the Sylas buffs are in this game. His ult cooldown is lower than before by quite a substantial amount. But we are going up against reworked Swain here. Now I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong because the patch came out pretty recently, but I'm pretty sure Swain is like miserably weak. Like his damage is very low. So, this should be a pretty easy matchup. Swain is completely immobile. He has easy to dodge abilities. One major tip for playing against Swain, by the way, because I actually played Swain a lot, and I noticed this. So, one of the best ways to learn how to play against champions is to play them for a while. And you'll learn what the enemies do that just make it a bit rough, whether they do it intentionally or not. Stand outside of your minion wave, and it's a lot harder for him to hit you with his E. Because his E, if you get by the first part, it doesn't do anything. Now there, he just got hit straight on, but if you get by the first part of his E, you don't get rooted, of course. So you only get rooted when it comes back, but it does, when it comes in contact with a unit, whether it's a minion or a champion, it does a bit of an explosion radius, which is larger than the initial hitbox size. Does he actually die here? My god, he actually dies solo to the Swain. Yeah, I think he just played that a bit arrogantly. But yeah, he's getting hit by a lot of abilities there, a lot of E's that are not even in the minion wave. But yeah, if you stand outside your minion wave, then you can't get hit by like the collateral effect of his E hitting a minion, because the hitbox is a lot smaller before it's actually detonated. The detonation hitbox is pretty large, so if it detonates against a minion, you could be caught in it even if you're pretty far away from it. So here you should just focus on farming this wave. Should be able to get most of this. He actually might have messed it up. Still able to get a decent amount with his abilities. He's actually higher CS than Swain. Swain has not been doing a good job. Yeah, I think the only way that you die solo to Swain early is just, you got a bit arrogant, I think, for this matchup. And we're just getting hit by every ability. Didn't really... I mean, it is Swain, but you still should play a bit safe until level 3, because level 3 is when you're actually able to play the game. Because you'll have all your basic abilities, so you're going back here. Seems fine. It's a cannon wave. It'll push back into him. He'll probably miss 1 or 2 melees, maybe. So he was able to pick up that Dark Seal, though. A control ward is nice. He's level 4, so soon he can start looking for some trades on the Swain. He does still have his Ignite up. Swain does not have his Ignite for a little bit. We did miss 3 melee minions, but it's still fine. Having that back is pretty nice. He also did ward the lane before he left. In this situation, I don't think that was... maybe I would have done it myself out of instinct, but I think maybe saving that ward would have been better. I think he did already have 2 charges, though, so maybe that was why. But I probably would have warded maybe the side of the lane or something. Just because with Swain, I mean, Swain could maybe go for a roam. Oh my god, he's going to die to minions here. Oh, that is really unfortunate. I actually want to go back there. Was he in range to EW? I think he was waiting for his W here. Yeah, he should have played that slower. You can't really do much there without your W, especially with the mini wave coming up. Should have just waited for his W cooldown. I mean, maybe Swain gets away, but you're too low and he has too many minions, you have to wait for the ability to EW him and just play around that. But yeah, as I was saying about warding the middle of the lane, Swain can kind of roam a little bit because of his W. Maybe he could roam, you know, top or bot to place a W, but overall it's not really as important as, you know, warding against something like a Katarina or a Zed, because Swain's pretty much, until he gets level 6, he's probably not going to roam anywhere. And if he does, he's not actually going to do anything, so. Against champs like that, it's just, you know, it's still somewhat useful, but not quite as good. Also there, with the control word placement, I usually place mine bot side. Placing it top is fine as well. It is a bit safer there because I feel like people don't check that as much. But you should place it closer to your side. On the top side, on mid lane, it doesn't matter as much because, you know, the enemies can't auto over the wall. Oh, and this is a good word too. This, you know, gets all of this information here. I really like warding here. Normally when I'm on blue side, I will control ward bot bush like this, and I'll place a normal ward in this area, probably around like here, and that just gives a lot of information. So Swain is 6 here, so this is actually really dangerous. I'm actually wondering what happens. He does get the demon flare off. It doesn't actually end the effect anymore. It does a lot less damage though. It does have a slow. And that's what I was talking about with the minions. That he actually got hit there because the minions got hit by the return. But now he has ult, so we can actually try and go in the Swain ult here. I think that's what he's gonna do. Maybe didn't need to use the Swain ult there. I probably would have just used it before I went in. Also forgot to reactivate it. But you know, that just would have cleared the wave a little bit faster, but it didn't really matter. Oh, but as I was saying, with these control wards, normally you want to place them closer to your side, like right here instead of in the middle, just because placing it closer towards the enemy side, it doesn't actually give you much more information, but it does make it easier for them to kill. And especially people who will play on red side and they place their control wards like right here, the enemy can literally just stand over here and auto it from over the wall if they're ranged. So that is really bad. In this situation, it doesn't matter as much because, you know, he is on red side, so they're not going to auto it over this wall. And they can't auto it over this wall because it's too thick. But I probably would have placed it more on this side. So we gotta go back there, got the last chapter. Bought another control ward. That's nice. I like buying, you know, spending a little bit of extra gold on control wards. I'll usually only buy one my first couple backs. I'll buy them later in the game if I have inventory space, but your inventory does get a bit crowded with, you know, Dark Seal and everything later in the game. But, you know, having at least one control ward is pretty nice. Also, I think Swain is bot lane here. Is that Swain or is that Trundle? It is Swain. And I'm not sure. I actually want to go back here just for a little bit. I want to make sure that he pinged. Okay, he did ping. Okay, good job. So we'll speed it up. You know, if you know that someone's roaming like that, you can be a bit more aggressive with the pings. Just because maybe if you only ping them once, they might not take it seriously. And his team did end up dying there. So maybe ping them a couple extra times. I think he pinged like twice there. So, if you really want to emphasize, then you can give him a bit of extra warning. Now here, he does have his ult up. Yeah, he can't take the Swain ult here. It's a bit too early. But the Trundle ult is good. Gives a lot of healing. Let's see what happens. It doesn't. Oh, I think his W is almost back up. Akshan did get the kill there, but yeah, I mean, maybe he could have tried to go on the Swain there instead. Like maybe earlier when he still had his E2 up from when he initially got away, he could have like E'd back to the Swain and then ulted the Swain. Maybe could have got a kill. That would have been a bit more risky. I think he did. Yeah, he did panic waste his flash there. Unfortunately, I think his W was almost back up, but he wasn't actually able to get it off in time. Or it was still on cooldown when he died, unfortunately. But he did buy the Kindle Gem. At this point, if you're behind like this, like he's 1 in 3, he's actually up a lot of CS because his Swain, his Swain CS is atrocious. He has 2.5 CS a minute. Sylas is also pretty bad, 5 CS a minute, but not quite as bad as 2.5. But yeah, at this point, you're really just playing for your Everfrost because that's where a lot of your power is going to come in from. I think he does probably die here as well. Oh, I mean, the Ignite ran out. He does get the Swain ult. Swain ends up flashing away. Yeah, as I was saying, Swain's damage is just really low right now. So yeah, I mean, that looked really bad for him, but Swain just did nothing there. Oh, it's because Swain's building Riftmaker. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, never build Riftmaker on Swain. It's a horrible item. Just build the Andres, and you'll do 50 times more damage, and you won't have mana issues all the time. Honestly, don't build Riftmaker on like any champ that has mana. I don't think there's a single one other than Gwen. I think Gwen, Akali, Mordekaiser are the only champs that use that, and even Akali doesn't use it half the time. But yeah, as I was saying, you just wanna when you're behind like this, you just wanna play for like your Everfrost. Really, you just wanna play for your spikes because you're not gonna be able to do too much with just an a Lost Chapter and a Kindle Gem. So playing for the Everfrost spike is huge. Playing for Shadow Flame is also really huge because then you can start one-shotting people even when you're behind. Now here, if he really wanted to go back, he should have just walked back towards tower a bit more. That Zyra ult, I'm not sure what that was. It wasn't even close to the enemy. That's fine. I mean, he can stay for a bit more. I assume he has enough for Everfrost here. Yeah, it's 1100. He only needs 600. But, you know, if you're forced to, you can stay. Just for a little bit. So he probably should go back after this wave, I assume. Yeah, he's going back. Team's on Dragon. I mean, you can back here, even though your team's on Dragon, because, you know, they're pretty much almost done with it anyway. Oh, I like that he pinged that he was going bot. I like that. I mean, his bot lane's already mid. Also, he forgot to use the Hex Gate. Okay, now he remembered he's going back. Yeah, I like that he pinged that he's going bot here. That's really nice. You know, once that first turret falls bot lane, your bot lane should really be rotating mid, and you should be rotating bot lane. This Lucian didn't get the memo, though, so Sylas can actually kill this guy pretty easily with the Everfrost and the Ignite. Oh, and he did get a sweeper as well. A bit early for a sweeper, honestly, but because his team is doing well, I think it's actually fine. He himself is not doing too great, but because his team is doing well, you don't really need the extra vision. It's better to just deny the enemy vision. So yeah, now he can just kind of chill in this bot lane, farm up. His farm's not terrible at this point. Definitely could be a bit better, but he did die a couple times early. So should be fine here. Wait, did he not have his E up? I think his E might have still been down. Yeah, it was still down from the wave. Either way, if you don't have E up here, you have to flash like immediately, basically, because the Anivia wall is, you know, way too strong at zoning off that area. So he kind of needed to flash like instantly there, since his E wasn't even close to being up. If he had like 1 second on it, then maybe, but he had like 3 seconds left. So also, in general, he should have just stayed back a little bit because you know that Anivia is missing on the map. I probably would have forgotten about her a little bit, but I probably still would have, you know, I probably would have just sat in this bush here and waited for Lucian to show on the wave, and just waited here until he like pushed up a little bit farther or the next wave came or something like that. Alright, so he's back up. He did get the Sorcerer Shoes. Sorcerer Shoes is a really nice power spike. This gives a lot of magic penetration, makes you do a lot more damage. Plus, extra movement speed is always nice. Off of the regular boots. So he can definitely win this. Yeah, and he just one-shots him. I mean, that's the power. He doesn't even have any components for Shadow Flame, but he just does so much damage. Does miss the cannon. Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, the Trundle ult, honestly, it wasn't really that necessary there, but, you know, definitely helps. Trundle is pretty nice. Not the greatest, but definitely really good single target. Gives a lot of healing, and the resistance shred is very nice. You also get those. And yeah, that's another instance of, you know, knowing your limits on Sylas. Like, if I was in that situation, I would have 100% engaged on the Trundle, probably even faster than he did there, because it's just such a free kill. And, you know, if you didn't know that and you were afraid of the Trundle for some reason, then you might have missed that opportunity to get a kill. And that's 2 Dark Seal stacks that you would have missed. 300 gold. Well, maybe it was a bit less than 300 because Trundle's kind of 1 in 6, but I think it was still a pretty decent amount. And here it looks like he's just going to go back in again. Now, yeah, Trundle ulted him, so he should be running away. You can still fight him, but you need to wait out his ult a little bit. And that's exactly what he did. So, very nice. Also, I'm not really sure what this Trundle is doing. He is the enemy jungler. Might be having a mental breakdown there. But, you know, farming enemy mental breakdowns is also an optimal strategy. I had talked about this before, with, you know, Sylas and his abilities and everything. You know, you don't do anything when your abilities are down. It's just how the champion works. So, one really important skill to learn, and this is also important on other AP champions, because unfortunately we don't get the sustained burst damage that AD champions do with their auto attacks. But you need to be able to like dance around a fight, waiting for your cooldowns to come up, but not. You don't want to disengage too hard so that the enemy leaves, but you want to kind of rope them in and make them think that they can get you. But what's actually happening is you're just waiting for your cooldowns, and you know once those come up, then you just go in super hard and destroy them. Trundle's bot lane again. Yeah, I mean, Sylas going bot lane here is fine. It's because mid is so pushed in, there's not really much he can actually do mid. So, you know, going bot lane and stopping the Trundle push. I think Trundle probably does get this tower here, but it's quite nice. Trundle's kind of running up a lot. You know, Ukshan's able to get that. Sylas didn't even get an assist, but, you know, just him being there forced the Trundle to run up. He wouldn't have died otherwise, so. Trundle's not exactly a high priority target, but there's no reason not to kill him, really. Just don't waste too much. Like, I would not flash for this Trundle, because he's not doing anything. Are we going to take jungle camps? Second blue buff. I guess his Nunu is here. So his Nunu's probably going to take the Gromp and everything. But, man, I got excited for a little bit that he's going to take some jungle camps. That's my favorite thing to do on Sylas, just take all the jungle camps. Whether it's my teams or the enemies, if my team's not there to get them, then they don't. Then in my mind, they don't want them. So I'm going to take them instead. This should be a free kill with Everfrost. I forgot to use his E2. You know, this could actually be bad. Yeah, wait, he actually forgot to use his E2. I've noticed him do that a couple times before. You know, you do only get 3.5 seconds to reactivate it. Now his team is just destroying them in their own base, but you do only get 3.5 seconds to activate it, and it's one of those things where you have to be, you know, you have to be paying attention. There's just something that comes with a lot of experience, like knowing all your cooldowns and stuff. And just, you know, understanding that, you know, you only have a certain amount of time to activate your E, and you just got to get used to, being able to feel that duration. One thing that's really important is to be able to quickly, like, you know, you got to be able to feel your ability cooldown, so like about when your stuff is going to come back up, and you got to be able to sort of like very quickly glance at your hotbar or your abilities or whatever. Oh, we are taking dome camps. Nice. And you gotta be able to quickly glance at that and realize, like, okay, my W's coming up in 1 second. I'm gonna spam that as soon as it's up. Stuff like that. Just like maximizing your cooldowns on Sylas. Okay, so I think he's senting here. I also don't think he realizes how Swain ult works. Now, you can reactivate it and it won't end the effect, and it does do damage in slow, so. He also should have activated it way earlier there. He had like a couple seconds where he was in the middle of him without it up, and that definitely would have given him a bunch of extra healing and damage. Probably wouldn't have made a big difference there. I think he still would have died, but there's no reason for him not to just activate that early. Especially because while you're in combat with it now, it does have basically infinite duration. So that is pretty nice. Especially on Sylas, because Sylas has a lot of mobility, so you can kind of stick close to the enemies. At this point, how much gold does he have? Okay, so he's just waiting for the Shadow Flame here. The combined cost is 700, so I just know that from a lot of playing. Shadow Flame at 21 minutes, it's a bit rough. He does have 6 CS a minute. He's definitely playing way, over aggressive this game. Limit testing is really important so you don't have many missed opportunities, but if you're going to ego every play and, just because you limit test one time and it like works out really well, you gotta build up that knowledge of your capabilities over a lot of playing. And just because something necessarily worked one time, or something in the past happened, it doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. And there, I mean, like early in this game, he died a lot when he didn't need to, and he just missed a lot of farm because of that. And then there, he's like, oh yeah, I mean, he just kind of one-shotting him. So I just like walked into him there. But yeah, and then he had a couple fights later where like he definitely could have won it, but he just misplayed it a little bit. Like he didn't reactivate his E2 there, so. Overall, I mean, the CS was a bit rough. He did die many more times than what was necessary. Had a rough early game. But that's a nice lesson. You need to be able to understand your limits, but and you should be limit testing, but you also have to play smart. You can limit test, but also play smart. And a lot of what he did there, it's a good learning experience. He died to the Trundle there because he didn't reactivate his E, and it ran out of time, and then he didn't get that off, and then Trundle ended up winning the 1v1. And if you are conscious about that and you realize, well, my E ran out, and it's happened a couple times to him, and hopefully he's able to understand. Next time I gotta pay more attention to my E. And if you guys do anything like that and you've noticed that there's a particular shortcoming in your gameplay, then it's something, you can look at it and you can be like, okay, I need to do this better, and then you can play smart. You can push your limits, but you can also play smart at the same time. And you can understand, like, okay, I need to be careful. I need to make sure I activate my E before it runs out. And that's something like for me, I don't really remember if I had ever had a problem with that. But I basically, I have complete awareness of when my E is gonna run out. I think I did actually in one of my replays. I went over how my E ran out of time, but that wasn't really because I forgot about it. It was more because I was waiting for someone to come out of stealth, and it just ended up taking a bit too long, which was unfortunate. But I think in general, FearlessOreos in particular kind of just forgets about his E2 sometimes. And if that's something that's happening to you, or you have some other, thing that you notice that would be like easily fixable or something that you could work on, then, definitely try and work on that. You can even do it in like normal games or something and just get a nice feel for, uh, how you're playing. A lot of stuff, like if you're playing at a high level or you want to play at a high level, a lot of the stuff that you're doing should be like second nature. Like I do so much stuff in my games, like I only think about stuff that's like really important, like like macro decisions mainly, but on a micro level, everything is second nature. I don't actively, I pay attention to my cooldowns and stuff, but I'm not like actively looking at it. And maybe that's something that you need to do. Maybe you need to actively look at your cooldowns to understand exactly when they come up, and you need to think about that actively, and that's fine. But you should be working towards the ability to have all that stuff down and sort of muscle memory, second nature, and it'll just make you a much more efficient player, and you won't make those mistakes as much, and you'll be able to focus on more important things. So, the game could have been played a lot better, of course, but stuff like this is nice to watch because there's a lot of room for improvement. Um, so yeah, hopefully this was a nice lesson. Um, hopefully you guys learned something from this. Maybe you can apply it to your own gameplay. If you like this content, you want to see more, consider liking, subscribing, leaving a comment. Any feedback would be greatly appreciated. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.